Okay, folks, let's get started. I really like this interface. Remember, it's lawdepot.com, and the reason I'm a big fan of it is I want all of my clients to always have at least an understanding and a framework of how the legal system works. I'm not necessarily saying or advocating that you just go to lawdepot.com, get the document, and you're done. That's all you need to do. You may still need to use an attorney. But if you have things prepared ahead of time that you can bring to the attorney, one, it can reduce your costs, and two, you're more knowledgeable about what you're getting yourself into. I'm a firm believer in my clients being self-empowered, self-enabled, and to do as much and advance things as far as they can go before turning it over to an attorney. And I really like how Law Depot, and there's several others too, I just picked this one. I like how Law Depot lays out its subject matter. This particular playlist is all focused on operating agreements for LLCs. But let's just go through real quick the front screen of lawdepot.com. As you can see, we got estate, real estate, financial, business, and family, many other things too. And here's some potential choices. I'm only going to take a second on these, just let you know that you're going to see that the way this asks you questions and sets up the document is really good. Better than many attorneys that I have worked with in a live context. The questions they ask are good, and the order in which they ask them is good. But let's get to what we came here for, which is an LLC operating agreement. I was thinking to stop, but okay, let's move on. All right, let's create the operating agreement, and let's assume Florida for now, where I'm licensed to practice law, but it holds all of 50 states, and there's some pretty big formatting differences between these two, and it's nice that it has that built in. Let's say that it will perform professional services, and in this case, the service is going to be building devices, or the professional services will be around uh, selling and supporting some type of invention. And we'll call the invention, just because that's what most of my clients do, and the people watching this may be my clients and may be coming here for an operating agreement related to this specific type of business, and that it will be something to do with landscaping. Let's just use that as an example. Professional services, yes. One of the things I like is the choices it gives you. If you don't necessarily know right at a given moment, it says you can skip this step for now. I'm not going to skip any steps. This is going to be a long video. It's going to be spread out over probably 3 segments. Okay, let's call the company. This is an awful name, but I just about guarantee that there is no one else with this particular name. We'll use my last name, and we'll call it Tan Landscaping. And we'll say the principal street address is I don't think that specific address exists. I just have to put something because we're going to be using this over and over again. Right now, this is a difficult question, and folks, if you want to look into this, sure, I encourage you to, but to keep this video simple and to not distract the audience and lose what few people are going to watch this anyway, I'm going to go with just a single class. Most, not all, most of my clients, their LLCs are composed of individual members. And we're going to have to fix some names here. So I'm going to call one of them Bob Smith. And we'll put him at 101 Smith Street. I'm going to add another member. And she'll be an individual. And we'll put her name will be Alice. Okay. I'm going to add a third member for reasons which I'll explain later. This will also be an individual. And this is such a valuable question. This is so important to a proper understanding of everyone's duties, responsibilities, abilities, and contribution. And people really misunderstand this a lot. They give a good example here. They talk about cash. They talk about sweat equity. They talk about physical objects. In this case, I'm going to include a different one. I'm going to include a cash amount for each one, even though that may not necessarily apply to you. Let's just put it in. We'll say that Bob put in $22,000. This is really important and difficult to briefly explain, but my field and my client base is largely inventors. Not exclusively, but largely. And they invent stuff. They set up an LLC and they assign their patent applications to the LLC. This is really speculative here. What is the total value? Oh boy. See, it says here ability to work 20 hours a week. That's important. When people are starting out, they usually don't quit their day job and they got to allocate and decide how much time do I really have to spend on this? Do they have kids? Do they have family? Do they have a full-time job that's very demanding? They may have to contribute in some other way other than time. Let's just take a guess though. See, it's so hard to evaluate what that 20 hours a week is really truly worth, and it's hard to figure out total value of contributions. What do you mean? Per year? Per month? I don't even quite know how to properly construe this question, but I'm really glad that this software asks it. It's just kind of hard to tell. So what I'm going to say is we'll put each of his inventions at $8,000 a piece, and we'll put the actual time at we'll call it 10 grand. Okay, so 8 plus 8 plus 10 is 26, along with the original 22 is 48. Okay, now regarding Alice. This is important. Her intangible contribution, what we'll do is say that she doesn't contribute any cash. But this ability to penetrate into the marketplace is definitely worth something. I'm going to evaluate it at $20,000. Plus, thought up a cool brand. We'll also even say suitable. I'm going to put her value of her contribution pretty high. I'm going to say $60,000 just as a wild guess. Let's say this person puts in $10,000. Okay, this is important because the contributions and the aspects of being involved in being a named inventor are really hard to define, hard to briefly and quickly define, along with the fact that people can make a very substantive contribution to a company and not be listed as an inventor. People can make a very minor contribution to an invention and be listed as an inventor, but not be listed or make a very substantive contribution to the company. The thresholds for inventorship and the thresholds for true authentic contribution to the LLC are very different. People get them confused. But still, with what Bob has availability to set up a test bed and things like that, let's put his value at $40,000. It's wonderful that this software forces you to answer these questions in an online format. Again, once you've done this, then you pay the money to lawdepot.com and walk into an attorney's office with a largely completed operating agreement. You will pay less to that attorney. Their job will be much easier. They will likely enjoy working with you more. This is a good place to stop because this is such an important question. We'll stop and restart.
Thanks for watching. Let me know any other topics you want me to discuss. This YouTube channel is to help you. This is for information. I want to hear from you and I want to know what things are on your mind.